The next step of your stained glass symmetry project is to draw your design. For this, you'll need a piece of paper, you will need a pencil and an eraser. You'll notice I'm just using the one at the edge of my pencil. And you'll also need a ruler, very important for this project, as you will be measuring things. So to start off, we first need to create the square in which we are creating our design. So to do this, I'm going to use my ruler at the top of my paper, and I'm going to line it up at the top. Remember that measuring with a ruler starts on the black line of your ruler. A lot of times there's a little bit of space. Make sure that you're using the black line. This is different for each ruler where that black line is. And I'm going to measure over to 6 inches. And I will just make a mark right there, a small little dash or a little dot. And then I will drop my ruler to the bottom of the page without flipping around my paper. Again, I will line up that black line right there on the edge of the paper and make a mark at 6 inches. Once I've done that, I can now connect these two dots. If I've measured correctly, they should be on there. Remember, pencil down on the dot, line up your ruler, and then gently pull your pencil across. Now you can see I've drawn this very lightly. I will be inking over it, so I don't need to worry about making it super dark. Now, coming down from the top, I'm going to measure, make sure that my black start measuring line is right there on the edge of the paper, and I will measure down to 6 inches. Make a mark, then I'm going to pull my ruler off to the left side of the paper. If you're left-handed, you might want to be doing it on the right side. Make sure that black line is lined up with the paper right where the measuring is, and over at 6 inches, make another dash or dot. Then I can simply connect these two dots as well. Remember, pencil down and pull your ruler. And pull your pencil across the ruler. Here you can see I've got different sections. Your paper should look like this. So this section is 6 by 6 inches. This section you don't need, neither this section. We're not going to cut out our paper yet. We're going to leave it intact so that it's easier to work with. I'm going to turn my paper upside down now so that we can work inside this 6 by 6 inch section. So we should have 6 inches here and 6 inches over here. I'm going to take my ruler and have the starting point be right on the black line over here. And I can see that this paper is now 6 inches in this section. I'm going to make a mark at 3 inches. And I'm going to take my ruler down to the bottom, line up my ruler, and make a mark at 3 inches. We are splitting this in half so that we can make a better design and make sure that it is indeed symmetrical along at least 2 lines of symmetry. Now we're going to use our ruler, line up with the black line at the top, the 6 inches down at the bottom, make a mark at 3 inches. Pull the ruler across, line up your ruler, make a mark at 3 inches. And then we will connect this horizontal line So now we have 4 sections or 4 quadrants. Now, when we draw this symmetrical design, we need to keep in mind that if we draw something in one section, we have to repeat it in 3 other sections. For example, looking at this design right here, you'll notice in the center, things stay pretty similar. But when we get to the outside, we have to make sure that we're drawing things multiple times. Even still, inside of this small square, like we have here, you can see I've drawn a part of a circle. That circle was then repeated in each one to make that complete circle. So you can see those designs as we work through. I drew this circle once, and then it had to be repeated 3 other times. Notice, to make sure that I made this circle in the direct center of each one, I have created extra guiding lines to help me find out where the center of each section is. So if you draw something once, you're going to have to draw it 3 other times to have multiple lines of symmetry. That's why we drew these 3 inches lines. So this line right here is at 3 inches, and this line right here is at 3 inches. So let's work together and create a very simple design. Let's create a triangle in the middle. I'm going to line up my ruler in the middle. The 3 inches should be at the very center, beginning of the measurement over here on the left, and 6 inches over on the right. I'm going to come an inch away from the center, so I'm going to make a small mark at 4 inches and a small mark at 2 inches. So I put a dot there and there. I also have to repeat this along the vertical line of symmetry. So I line up 6 inches at the bottom, 3 inches in the middle, and beginning of the measurement at the top. And again, I want to come an inch out, so I'm going to come to 4 inches down and 2 inches above. Now I've created 4 dots, and we're just going to connect the dots. You can think of this as creating your own dot to dot. If you remember back to your dot symmetry project, you were already given the dots. At this point, you now need to create your own design using the dots. Notice, if you're not careful, you don't go to the dot. So make sure that you're drawing this comfortably. I'm drawing this so that you can see, and it makes it easier for measuring. But if you need to move your paper so that drawing the lines to each dot becomes easier, do so. See how much easier that is? Line up to dots, and then draw. Move my paper, line up to the dot, and then draw. Now notice, sometimes we have to be really precise. This line went just to the left of that dot instead of going to it. So it looks just a little bit off. So I'm actually going to erase that and just make sure that we've connected it properly. There. So now we have a diamond shape in the middle of our project. Now I'm going to create a triangle up here at the top. So I'm going to come down an inch. I like to make my measurements easy to begin with, and then as I make them more complicated as I go on. I'm going to line up this ruler at the top and come over a ½ inch. So halfway between 3 and 4, then halfway between 2 and 3. And then I'm going to connect these dots. Now I've drawn one triangle. I'm going to have to repeat that triangle 3 more times. So I'm going to move my paper so it's easier to work with. Start of the ruler, 3 inches, 6 inches. I'll come over a ½ inch. I'm going to draw all these ½ inches at the same time so I know I've got them right. Then I also need to come in an inch on each of these. Come down an inch there. Come down an inch there. And come down an inch there. Now I'm going to connect these dots. So remember, pencil on the dot, line up to the dot and draw. Pencil on the dot, line up to the dot and draw. And continue this process till you've drawn all three of the other triangle shapes. So here you can see we've started to create a design. If you want to add more, you would continue to add other interesting things to this. This design right now is very simple still, so I would continue to add more information. So I'm going to come an inch in on each side, so an inch here, an inch here. I'll do the same thing at the top. You see I line up my ruler, 3 inches in the middle, 6 inches on the right, and start of the ruler on the left, 1 inch, and come in an inch to 5 inches. This is nice because I don't have to measure 1 inch along multiple places. I can line up my ruler and I know I've come in an inch and I've come in an inch. Then I'll move my paper to this side and do the same thing. Line up, 3 inches in the middle, 6 inches on the right, beginning of the ruler on the left, come in an inch, come in an inch. And I'll just drop my ruler to the bottom. Line up, 3 inches in the middle, 6 inches on the right, beginning of the ruler on the left. Now that I've got these, I can actually do some other things with it. I might just connect these all the way across. Remember, pencil on the dot, line up your ruler, and then draw. Now, this is a very simplistic design that did not take long to draw all. I would encourage you to now take some time and build upon this idea. What else could you do to make this design look interesting? Take about 5 minutes and start to add some of that design element to it. Once you've done that, you will need to design your own completely by starting out from scratch and drawing a 6 by 6 inch square and creating your own design.